Okay, in this video episode, we're working with reflection. Specifically, we're looking to get the reflection of the curve y equals the square root of x. That's what's drawn already here. Let me just mark it up first. The square, there's the curve right over there. We're going to confirm the points and sketch it again later just to show you how we got it. But for now, we're going to sketch y equals square root of x, which is already there, and we're going to reflect it in the x-axis. We're going to do reflection, a flip across here. It's going to be symmetrical about this side, and we're going to get that reflection. Now, in order for us to do this, we're going to do it in two simple steps. Number one, what we're going to do is we're going to use this rule over here in order to determine how to reflect it about the x-axis. And number two, we're going to create a table of values. Many of you have done this before, and we're going to plot the points to confirm that the drawings, the sketches are in fact correct. So let's go to step number one and use this rule box over here. And that is, if we want to reflect about the x-axis, all we have to do is replace the y for negative y. What that means is we're going to have, when you're replacing y for negative y, we know we got y equals function x. But when we want to reflect that function x about the x-axis, then it becomes y equals negative function x. In other words, we put a negative in front of the function. So if we're going to get the mirror image about the x-axis, then this is going to become y is equal to, put a negative in the front, the square root of x. So that is the mirror image of that, rotated or reflected about the x-axis. Okay, let me just mark that up for the x-axis. We're going to be reflecting about there. So we should be getting a mirror image, something that looks something symmetrical about the x-axis from that. So now let's go to the table of values to confirm the points. So I'm going to start off with the values of x. And then we're going to have the square root of x. And then negative the square root of x. All right, let's draw this up. So let's do quite a few points. We'll go up to 5, I think. Perhaps 6. Okay, we'll start off with the point, let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mind you, I'm not going to go to -1 or negative numbers, because we know if we put a negative number under a square root sign, what happens? The calculator says error. You cannot get the square root of a negative number unless you use complex numbers. So here, square root, there's no negatives. On this side of the y-axis, nothing's happening. It's from here, from the y-axis to the right. Okay, let's start putting values in. So we've got 0 here at this point right over there. If I substitute 0 right into that, the square root of 0, in fact, is 0. So that's going to give us another 0. So the square root of 1 is just 1. The square root of 2 on your calculator, that should be 1.4. Square root of 3, that should be 1.7. Square root of 4, well, that's easy. Square root of 4 is 2. And the square root of 5 is approximately 2.2. Okay, let's put into the negative square root of x. Now notice the negatives on the outside of the square root. So all we're doing is taking these guys and putting negatives in front of them. So we could do that. So we go 0 into the square root of negative x is still 0 or 0. 1 into that, the square root of 1 is 1, put a minus in front of it. Square root of 2 is 1.4, put a minus in front of it. Minus 1.4. A little squashy there, minus, let me just rub that out, minus 1.7, minus 2, minus 2.2. Let's start plotting these points up here. All right, so let's confirm the curve up here that that's correct. We have the point first off, 0, 0, bang, there it is. We have 1, 1. 1, 1, yep, that's correct, right there. We have another point, 2, 1.4, 2, that's about 1.4, that's correct, right there. Then we have another point, that's 3, 1.7, 3, That's about 1.7, correct, approximately. And then we have 4, 2. Yeah, the square root of 4 is 2. There it is there. 4, 2. And finally, we have 5, 2.2. 5, 2.2. That is about there. Okay, there's our points. There's the curve. Let's put in the mirror image, symmetrical about the x-axis. All right, let's do that in blue. We've got 0, 0, bang, there it is. We got 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1, 2, negative 1.4, 2, negative 1.4, that's about there. 3, negative 1.7, 3, negative 1.7, and 4, negative 2, 4, negative 2, and 5, negative 2.2. It's doing this kind of a thing. Bit wobbly, but there you go. Let me just confirm the points. 1, negative 1. We have 2, negative 1.4, 3, negative 1.7, and we have 4, negative 2, and finally 5, negative 2.2 right there. So there's our mirror image. That's y is equal to negative the square root of x. And again, when you want to reflect about the x-axis, as we have now, all you have to do is replace y for negative y.